company started, I think, about 7 years ago. My boss, Frank Wolf, he'd been doing blogs for a while. And he just, he'd been doing little stuff with Sabres, little blog stuff. He met up with some writers, and then kind of like he had been kind of planning. He wanted to do that for high school sports because there was such a vacuum. The Buffalo News was covering, and you had the TV stations who might give it, a couple minutes a week, but those kids weren't really getting their just due. And finally, 2016 came around, so I had joined them. It was funny. It was. He put an ad in his church, in our church bulletin, saying looking for sports writers, and something I kind of wanted to get into, so I sent him an email, and then I never heard from him, so I'm like, oh man. So then a few months later, I'm like, I looked at it again. Oh, I got the email address wrong. Ooh. But it never came back as a bounce thing.
Really?
So I never noticed.
Maybe someone got it, just not him.
Yeah. So then I sent one. He's like, all right, so write 200 words in the Sabres pick. I wrote about the wrong pick, of course, but that was the end of my sophomore year, June of sophomore year of high school. And then I was kind of with them a little bit during high school, games 1 and 4, and then the summer after high school ended, he decided there were some local papers, community papers that closed, and he picked up a few writers, and he wanted to start a website dedicated firmly to high school sports, and that's where WNY Athletics was born. So we've been around since 2016 officially. Wow. We write articles, and past 2 years we've been live streaming, so we've been pretty much across the western side of the state. We're not only live streaming the local championships, but we've done the state football championships, the state baseball, the state hockey. So it's really a lot of fun. I've been to Binghamton a couple of times, been to Syracuse a couple times. It's fun to see those areas, and I know
you've done some charter schools as well.
Yeah, we have a couple charter schools. In fact, there's 2 charter school teams now, which are one of them is brand new. The other's kind of been around for a couple of years. But yeah, it's so much fun. When I was younger, I wanted to be, to cover the big guys, be a big time, play-by-play guy. And then I kind of realized I like the high school stuff because I knew they appreciated it. It mattered to you see, that kid, you put his name, even if you just throw a sentence in on him, it makes that kid's day. It makes those parents' kids' day. Oh yeah. Grandma and grandpa loves to see it. They love to share it. And, they really appreciate it. In my other job that I used to have, we can talk to a little bit later, I saw what it's like to cover the Bills and cover the Sabres. It's not really that much fun. It's a lot. It's a big grind. It's a lot of long hours. And you're kind of you're competing with 20 other people to write the same story. And it's, it's just not that interesting. Didn't seem that fun. There's nothing you might be in a big pond, but you're a pretty small fish.
Sure.
And I'd rather be a big fish in a small pond, in a pond that they really appreciate what you're doing. And, it's really fun. We've been, this season, we've been out, our goal is to get to about 10 games or contests a week. Right now we're close to about half a dozen, but there have been a couple Friday nights where we're going out 4 or 5 sites doing games on different platforms, and it's just a great feeling to bring that all together and just to see the excitement and go a lot of places. And I'm trying to be respectful because I'm in someone else's press box on their property, and they're like, no, no, have that. No, we're just glad you're here, giving the kids attention, and
that's
it's
awesome.
just it's really great to see that gratitude.
It sounds like you've got a really good culture at the workplace. I can tell that you like I said, you passionate about it, you care about it, which is exhilarating when you can have that in the workspace. Not everybody has that. And, 2 things immediately come to mind with what you just shared. First, Frank, if you're watching or tuning in at any given point, thank you for giving Francis the chance after, the wrong email. And then what you said, you wrote the wrong thing as a sophomore. Yeah. So clearly you're a very generous and forgiving man. And obviously, that was many years ago. I'm sure you're killing it in your craft. And then the second thing that came to mind is, I don't know if we should cut this episode or not, man, because what if there's all this competition now in the high school space? I bet it would probably be welcome, at least at first, right? Because at least you'd be getting more matches. But obviously, all joking aside, clearly there's a difference there. There's a difference in the culture as opposed to, obviously, like you already touched on what's going on a national level. It's so saturated. It's so, and it's interesting. It's entertaining and it's important, but I can see how there would be a very distinct experience with what you're doing right now. You're kind of like trailblazing, which is cool.
Yeah, a little bit. We're trying to pick up where, some of the other media has kind of left off. We kind of see it. We see ourselves. We try to help them as best we can. We don't try to see them really as much. I mean, they still kind of are competitors, but we try to we're there for the kids. And
right.
When we see someone from those stations there and they know us, they might say, hey, they might ask us about something. Hey, that happens a lot, which we're happy to collaborate with them, or at least give them our 2 cents on whatever.
Right.
That's always good because it's about the kids.
Sure. And, might as well just mention it now. I alluded to it at the very beginning with the intro, right? Journalism past, big time. You worked for CBS. You know the industry. And so obviously what it's like to maintain those relationships with your fellow crew members or anybody that might show up from another affiliation. And I got to say, out of I've cut 8 episodes before this will be number 9. You've already shown more video camera presence in the first 5 minutes than I think I've seen.
I've done this a few times.
You clearly know what you're doing, and it's awesome, man. It's awesome. Engaging the audience. This is what we're doing, because this show is all about. I always feel weird calling it a show or even a podcast. It's real life. This. What we're conveying here is building up the community, right? Being there for the community. So it's really awesome that we get to open by showing some love to our high schoolers and all the incredible sports they got going on. And like you said, what better time to do that than right now at the beginning of the season, beginning of the school year?
Yeah, we're already into week 4. The regular season's just so short. It's always already halfway over.
What? Oh,
yeah.
No. For which sports, though?
Specifically for football, for most of them, pretty much halfway point for most of them. But state championships go all the way to the beginning of December. So, and we're planning to we're going to go out to states where there should be a couple teams that should make it states for football, which, so it's fun. It's a grind, I'll tell you.
Sure.
I know last year there were more than a couple weeks I was working probably 50, 60 hours. This year, luckily, I've been able to cut back a little bit. We got we brought some new people into the fold.
Sure.
But it's a grind, but it's also fun, and I really accomplish a lot.
I got a quick question. This literally just came to my mind. Do you cover North Tonawanda currently?
We cover everywhere from Lake Ontario down all the way to the PA border.